President Joe Biden and business leaders ramped up their concerns that an unprecedented federal default would disrupt government payments to millions of people and throw the nation into recession. The emerging agreement sets the stage for a sequel of sorts in December. Congress has just days to act before the October 18th deadline, when the Treasury Department has warned it would quickly run short of funds to handle the nation's already accrued debt load. Fast, 24/7 alerts delivered to your inbox daily. Subscribe to be in the know of the most important moments around the world. By subscribing, you agree to our privacy policy. Democrats for weeks refused to cede to GOP demands that they raise the debt ceiling with budget reconciliation. As Congress marched toward a crisis, Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, RKY, offered a debt ceiling increase that would prevent the government from defaulting into December. But some GOP senators believed there were better options that Republicans had. They particularly disliked the Democrats' narrative that McConnell's action represented him caving. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, RKY, said Thursday that despite the fact Republicans agreed temporarily avert an economic crisis, Democrats will eventually have to raise the debt ceiling on their own.
The Senate is moving toward the plan I laid out yesterday to spare the American people a manufactured crisis, McConnell said on the Senate floor. All year the Democratic government has made unprecedented and repeated use of reconciliation to pass radical policies on party line votes. So back in July, Republicans informed our colleagues they would need to pursue any long-term increase in the debt ceiling through the same process. He added that, McConnell said, amounted to 3 months' notice that they would have to use reconciliation, a procedural tool that lets a majority in Congress circumvent the Senate filibuster to raise the debt ceiling. For 2.5 months the Democratic leaders did nothing and then complained that they were actually short on time, he said. Now they have no question there will be plenty of time. Democrats, however, are still adamant that they will not raise the debt ceiling with reconciliation. Senate Majority Whip Dick Durbin, DL, said so on Thursday morning. This means that in just a few short months the Senate could be back to the same kind of brinkmanship that it's seen in the past couple of weeks. Schumer said the legislation could be passed through the Senate as early as today. The agreement struck by party leaders will only boost the debt ceiling into December. That is when the standoff over whether Democrats should do a longer-term debt ceiling increase via budget reconciliation is likely to rear its head again. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, RKY, said he only offered to help raise the debt ceiling for a couple of months to moot Democrats' complaints that raising it with budget reconciliation would take too much time. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, DN.Y, speaks to reporters after a Democratic policy meeting at the Capitol in Washington, Tuesday, October 5, 2021. Senator Chuck Schumer, DN.Y, struck an optimistic tone early Thursday and said negotiations to avoid a federal default were progressing, but there was still work to be done. We're making good progress. We're not there yet, but I hope we can come to an agreement tomorrow morning, he said, according to the Wall Street Journal. He made the comment shortly after midnight. Republicans and Democrats are working to determine just how much the debt limit should be increased before October 18th deadline. Schumer expressed optimism that a deal could be reached Thursday. The Hill reported that Republicans want the short-term debt extension to be tied to a specific number instead of a specific day in December. The report said Senator Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, told reporters that the deal would be completed soon. The deal would be a temporary reprieve that could lead to a similar standoff in 6 weeks. The Washington Post described the debt ceiling clash as a proxy war over the two parties' competing agendas. Biden enlisted top business leaders to push for immediately suspending the debt limit, saying the approaching deadline created the risk of a historic default that would be like a meteor that could crush the economy and financial markets. McConnell said the deal will moot Democrats' excuses about the time crunch they created and give the unified Democratic government more than enough time to pass standalone debt limit legislation through reconciliation. Senator Bernie Sanders, IVT, refused to sign a letter to condemn the actions of left-wing activists who confronted Senator Kyrsten Sinema, DRIs, in a public restroom because the statement did not criticize her political views. A report late Wednesday said. Capital attitude: Congress may not have an infrastructure bill, but at least it has an off-ramp. Democrats and Republicans forged what appeared to be a compromise on the debt ceiling Wednesday. Lawmakers sometimes steal their positions so deeply that they can't extract themselves. They're stuck on a road to oblivion as the headlights of a crisis careen down the highway at them. So everyone searches for an exit. Such was the case with the debt ceiling. The sides were too entrenched over the politicking of the debt ceiling and the Democrats' efforts to approve trillions in social spending. But the realpolitik of a national economic crisis loomed. Chad program. Live coverage begins here.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe